Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. Greetings from Human Biological Institute. So, welcome to today's episode of Fearless Against Rabies. I am Mrinal Survase. I welcome everyone to the live talk session of Fearless Against Rabies. At Human Biological Institute, we take immense pride of driving several public health awareness initiatives through our one of its kind platform, Fearless Against Rabies. This session features leading experts from across the country who share their valuable insights on key health topics aimed to raise awareness and promote overall well-being of the society at large. Today we are delighted to have Dr. Mallesh Gowda GS with us to share his expert perspective on rabies, 100% fatal, but timely vaccination saves life. So I shall be sharing more about our today's speaker in short. For a moment, please allow me to share a brief introduction of Human Biological Institute. So, Human Biological Institute is a division of Indian Immunologicals Limited. IIL was established in 1982 by National Dairy Development Board as one of its units and was later incorporated as a company in 1999. HBI was founded in 1998 when the Government of India requested IIL to produce a modern tissue culture anti-rabies vaccine to phase out the unsafe nerve tissue vaccine. Our first manufacturing facility was set up in Ooty. This facility is one of its kind in India and rolled out in the country's first varicella culture rabies vaccine in the year 2000. Today, we are a leader in the ARV, that is anti-rabies vaccine segment, with presence in around 60 countries. HBI has launched several other vaccines and become a major player in the human vaccine segment. HBI has been a key supplier in the pentavalent vaccine to the Government of India under its Universal Immunization Program. In yet another milestone, HBI introduced Havishur in 2024, India's first indigenous hepatitis A vaccine, aimed at providing protection for both children and adults. The vision with the vision of shaping global healthcare by spearheading the One Health initiative and the mission to innovative produce and market quality healthcare products and services to improve and extend lives, we are committed to providing affordable, high quality products through continuous technical innovations to meet our customers' needs. As a market leader, we have a significant step towards reducing plastic burden by 160 tons per annum through the introduction of eco-friendly packaging for our flagship brand Abhaira. As a part of our corporate social responsibility initiatives, we have adopted schools where IIL provides infrastructure support and basic facilities, including assistance with the midday meal program. In association with NDDB through the gift milk program, hundreds of school-going children benefit from daily milk nutrition. We have also donated an oxygen generation plant to Telangana Institute of Medical Science and Research. These are just the few insights about IIL. For more information, please visit our website at www.indimmunity.com. Now, there's a short video for the introduction of our doctor, Dr. Mallesh Gowda. I'll just play the video. Welcome to today's episode of Fearless Against Rabies. This session is dedicated to a highly significant and often overlooked topic, rabies, a 100% fatal disease, but timely vaccination saves life. To help us better understand this condition and its impact, We are joined today by Dr. Mallesh Gowda. So I'll introduce him. Dr. Mallesh Gowda GS is a highly regarded pediatrician and neonatologist affiliated with the New Amrutha Medical and Research Center in Raichur, Karnataka. He holds an MBBS and a diploma in child health, along with a postgraduate credential in pediatric nutrition from Boston, USA. Dr. Mallesh Gowda is known for his dedication to infant and child care, and he enjoys a strong reputation among local families to his expertise and compassionate approach. Let's begin today's session with some commonly asked questions on the topic. I'll bring Dr. Mallesh Gowda on the screen. Good afternoon, doctor.
Good afternoon, madam.
So, let's start with the question answering session.
Yes, madam. Please go ahead.
So, we'll begin with the first question, doctor. And my first question is, how is the problem of rabies in India and why the disease is so deeply rooted in India?
Good afternoon, and thank you for calling me to share my views on rabies. And India is very highly endemic country for the rabies disease. For example, 50% of the total disease and total deaths in of the world is happens in the India. To tell in the figures, one study to tell that there are about 17 to 18 lakhs, means 1.5 to 2 crores per year. There is a dog bite. Among them, there are about 25,000 deaths. Total world death of rabies is 50,000. 50% happens in the India. Roughly about 25,000 rabies deaths happens in India alone. This is an alarming figure, and it is almost 100% preventable disease. Why it happens in India is so common. It's obvious reason are a few, because we have highest street dogs especially. Among total dog population, 90% of them are street dogs. Like only 10% are the who has been personal or the private dogs. 90% are street dogs, and there is no national sterilization policy, no national immunization policy for either for the dogs or for the humans. And the populations also highest number of population in the world now, and most of them are in, especially in the kids, because they are free roaming around and in the roads, and dogs are there frequently everywhere in the every streets, and every near schools or near the airport, near the bus stand, everywhere there are dogs. And they are not, there is no national sterilization program, no control program on the vasectomy program on the dogs. That is why the population of dogs is very high, and people population also is more, and that is why there is a high frequency of rabies in India.
Yes, sir. That's very true that many street dogs are there in India.
Recently, we can even Supreme Court has ordered, but so much against their order, and they try to prevent it because of they have animal lovers. They don't know the seriousness of the rabies, and they will do on, and they will prevent the authority to act on street dogs.
Yes, sir. Absolutely true. Then the next question is, can you say something more about the disease, how it is transmitted, and about its incubation period?
Rabies is a zoonotic disease. Means it is always spread from the animals to the human being. There is no transport from directly from human to human. There are other ways, but human to human direct transplant is not there. Zoonotic disease, and it is a viral disease. When it spreads from either from the lick or the bite from the animals, it will start from the bite area to spreads to the brain through the nerves and synaptic places and to the brain. And incubation period is anywhere from 4 to 5 days to 4 to 5 years, and average is about 3 weeks to 3 months average, but ranges from 4 to 5 days to 5 to 6 years. That there is this advantage of this incubation period is quite a long incubation period. That is why you can intervene even after post exposure and prevent almost 100% child getting or the patient getting the rabies. Incubation period is very long.
Correct.
Rarely it happens few days because of severe bite, especially when it is shorter incubation period. Is if it is as I told, it is a virus has to transport from bite site to the brain. That is why it's the more near to the brain, and the very short is the incubation period. More severe the bite, more shorter the is. More area where there is a blood supply is high, like the limbs and the face. There's a incubation period is narrow. Otherwise, average is I told from 4 to 5 days to 4 to 5 years. Nearest is the brain, severe bite and more bite on the vascular area. The incubation period will be less.
Thank you, sir. So, proceeding with the third question, which animals transmit rabies in India?
Practically, any animal's bite can transport, or any animal bite can transport, but majority in the world and India, 99% of the rabies is caused by the dog bite. And rest 1% majority will be cat and other things like mongoose and fox and other bites like horse bite and domestic cows and cat bite. Others are there in 1%. But you have to remember, it rarely transmitted or the not heard of transmitted by the small animals like rats and rabbits. And another thing is, and small insects like, for example, centipede and the scorpion or the snake bite. It won't cause the rabies.
Yes, sir. 99% of cases are dog bites only. Yeah, I
Yes,
guess. So, can a scratch from an animal be fatal? And if yes, then how?
you have to remember, most of the virus in a rabid animal will be it is there in the body fluids. Rarely it spreads from the blood, but it is body fluids, especially saliva. It is very contagious, highly contagious. That is why it is need not to be from the mouth itself. If you remember, especially dogs and cats, they always licks their limbs, and when there is scratch from the limbs, definitely saliva will be there in their limb and the fingers and the nails. That is why whenever there is a scratch, that is as equal or as bad as any bite. That is why you need not to have a bite itself. Even scratch can cause because of contamination with the saliva. There are other ways of transplant. It is very rare, as I told. In humans, in North America especially, bites are bats are there. It's airway transports, but it is very rare. And human to human transplant only happens in the it is a transplant, tissue transplant, especially cornea, because very high rich vascular, and corneal transplant is known to cause a human rabies from human to human. Other than other sites, but from ingestion of cow's milk or the rabid animal milk is not going to cause, because as you remember, I told only it is there in highest in the saliva. It's very rare or very less in case of milk. It is why the consumption of a rabid cow or any other animal milk is not known to cause a transmission of the rabies.
Yes, sir. So, what should a person do if he or she is bitten or scratched by an animal?
You remember, many times patients or parents or doctors tells that how many times we have to give a vaccine. There is a confusion in the schedule. But before giving a vaccine, you should always remember that the most important step in prevention of rabies is a costless. There is no price for that. What is that? Just to thorough washing of the lick site or the bite site for about 15 minutes in a free flow water, tap water, free flow water, directly the jet hitting on the bite side. It can almost wash 100% of the virus, and almost it causes 50% of the reduction in case of rabies, just by simple costless 15 minutes job can decrease the person getting rabies by 50%. 15 minutes job, 50% rabies reduction just by free flow tap water. One thing, first one. Next step is immediately afterwards, we have to apply the antiviral drugs, like in the form of iodine, iodine, or the betadine, or the spirit, like any Savalon or the Dettol or any home available things. We have to wash the wound. You have to remember only these products will help in decreasing virus load. Using other antiseptics or the antibiotic local like mupirocin, fusidin is not going to help. Only these products, as I named, will help to decrease further virus. And next step is you have to bring it to the patient immediately to the hospital, and you have to infiltrate local antibodies. In different antibodies are there available, human or the equine virus or the monoclonal antibodies. The doctor will decide availability and the suitability, and you have to inject the local bite site injections. We used to give other than bite site and the other distant site IM injection. Now we have come to know that only local injections and the bite site will help prevention of spread from the virus. You have to remember the virus spreads from the bite site to the brain. That is why you have to lock that virus, whatever remaining virus, in the bite site itself. No use of giving a immunoglobulin at the IM injection in other sites. That is why you have to do. These are the steps. And next step is give a antibiotics. Oral antibiotics. Any bites will use anaerobes. That is why amoxiclav is the best antibiotic you have to give for prevention secondary infection. Another thing you have to give if the child has or the patient has not received any tetanus vaccine in the last 5 years, give one more dose of tetanus vaccine. These are the 5 important steps we have to do immediately when the patient gets bite from the rabid animal or suspected any animal bite.
Yes, sir. Thank you for this information because most of the common people don't know what exactly they need to do after the severe dog bite or scratch. So, this information will be helpful for them. So, doctor, coming up with the next question, what are the things people should avoid doing if they are bitten or scratched by an animal?
Equally, what to do, there is equally what not to do also. Because I have seen in many, especially villages, common bites are very common even in villages also. Because dogs are universal, they are there everywhere. And especially you have to remember, children will go to the open defecation in the villages, and the pigs and dogs are very common in that site. We have seen many extensive bites. And what the people will do, what is a belief in many our place, in and around in our place and in throughout India, they immediately will make all lot of things, unnecessary things they put into the wound site, especially turmeric, kunkam, and they will put a wall paints. They will put a arshin, and they will put all other cow dungs for any wounds. They will apply many times the cow dung, and many times they will cauterize, burn, and doctors will burn. Sometimes parents also will burn, and many times they will go for the quack treatment. I have seen there are very famous treatment for dog and snake and scorpion bit in many villages. They will go there and they delay the treatment. They will give some water, mantra, or mantra water, or the what is meditated water, and they drink. They think that it's a treatment. And many times in our area, they will go for the where they put who are the dog owner. They will go to their home. They will have some medication from the home. They will eat from the home food from that dog owners. There are so many such beliefs, and that is all can cause delay. One thing, and that is every minute is important when the dog is rabid or the some animal is bitten. And another thing is it can cause and press more. For example, if you cauterize, and some doctors I have seen, they have stitched the wound place. That should not be done. If at all, if it is extensive bite, there is a gaping wound, you should wash, as I told, all the steps and do a secondary stitching. What is the meaning of secondary stitching? After 1 or 2 hours, after infiltrating, lose maybe 1 or 2 stitches, gape it, and because blood will oozes. And if you put a full stitches, it may cause compress and cause anaerobic area, and it can increase the virus multiplication, and it can press the virus. It is like a locking a thief inside the house and putting the your windows, and is not allowing to come out. It can cause more harm. That is why these are the things you should not do. Don't do any local application of anything. Don't do a stitching immediately. Don't do a cauterization. Don't delay because you are gone to some jadibuti or the RMP or the Ayurvedic treatment. If you have belief, you do whatever. But first do these things what I told, and then you go to whatever. Because we don't bother if you do something else. But if you delay the primary treatment, you do even if any amount of treatment afterwards, it is not going to save you. You have to remember, as the title says, rabies is 100% fatal if it happens. And you have to remember easily, important thing is it is almost 100% preventable, vaccine preventable disease. It's the only disease. Most of the other virus preventable, vaccine preventable disease will tell 70%, 80%, 90%. But it is almost 100% preventable just by vaccination with few hundred rupees. That is why don't delay. If you want to do, if at all, you do after the initial treatment.
Yes, sir. So, how safe is vaccination against rabies?
I told you it is 100% efficacy wise. Safety wise is almost, I can tell, is 100% safety. Because you see, even paracetamol can cause a reaction. If this also any drugs can reaction, mild reaction in the local form of fever or the pain or the tingling numbness. What other things are there? Mild fever, mild pain, but it is almost 100% safe. For that, you can anywhere giving a painkiller when there is a bite, it will take care of the vaccine. Anaphylaxis reactions are very rare, and that whenever you are giving in vaccine in the hospital, like any other vaccine, tell the parents to wait for half an hour. And if at all, if at anything develops, 90% of the time it happens within half an hour. And you can manage accordingly.
Okay, sir. So, what is the pre exposure rabies vaccination? Any who should consider taking pre exposure vaccination?
You have to remember there are three types of vaccination in case of rabies. One, as Madam told, is pre-exposure. Means, as name tells, PREP is just before bite, just a preventive measures you are taking. Second is post-exposure. Child has or the patient has already has bitten, and then we want to give. Another is re-exposure vaccination. Child has bitten, we have taken a vaccination. You want to is that there is some bite again afterwards. There is a re-exposure. We'll discuss pre-exposure first, and then we will discuss about other dose. Pre-exposure means we want to prevent a patient getting a rabies or the man getting a rabies before he gets exposed to the any bites or any licks from the rabbit or the any animals. What this I told, what is the pre-exposure prophylaxis? Is it necessary for everybody? According to our association, Indian Academy of Pediatrics, it is must for population like in India, because so much of rampant of rabies and 25,000 deaths per year, and so much rapid florid, like the very high population of dogs. That is why IAP recommends routine vaccination, if not at birth, after 3 years when the child starts going to the school, and everybody. And but WHO doesn't recommend routine vaccination, but IAP recommends. That is why, especially if you have a, what are the persons who need specially, if not for routine, what else? Who else needs the important pre-exposure prophylaxis? One, we can tell that all dog lovers who have, especially they have domestic dogs, and who routinely take care of dogs or animals, like veterinary persons or the veterinary staff, hospital staff, and who roams around very frequently, like a post office persons or the food distribution person like Zomato and others, where they will go and all. And in your area where is very high endemic dogs are there, and in on the way to school there is dogs are there. These are the other areas. And veterinary, as I told already, laboratory person, veterinary doctor who handles the rabid animals very frequently, rabid dogs or the rabid persons very frequently. Those are the person who must take a pre-exposure. It is not option there. Options I have told already. What is the dose? This you have to remember, only 2 doses. For post-exposure, the controversy are 4 or 5. Remember, but pre-exposure, there is no controversy, only 2 doses. One at the first day and another is on the 1 week. 1 day, 1 week. You remember, easy to remember. What is the advantage of pre-exposure prophylaxis? There is a big advantage. One is you already has the antibodies, high level of antibodies. Once you antibodies are developed, plasma B cells will be there in your blood for next 20 to 25 years, almost literally or lifelong. You no need not to take all the vaccines, all the 4 to 5 doses. If you are re-exposed, one thing you never need to take any painful local injections of immunoglobulins, and the protection is almost 100% because the memory B cells are there already. You take a vaccine, there is a sudden surge of vaccines, immunoglobulins. That is why there is chances of getting a rabies is almost nil. These are the advantage. These are the pre-exposure. One post-exposure, I told 4 doses. One is on one day, 0 dose will tell on the 1 week or on the 1 month. It is 3 doses. Post-exposure is 4 doses. 0 1 day, 0 3 days, 1 week, 1 month. These are 4 doses. 0 3 days, 1 week, and 1 month. Post-exposure prophylaxis. If the child or the patient gets re-exposure within 100 days, roughly you remember 100 days. Your textbook tells is 3 months. If within 3 months, if re-exposure, any amount, any grade, don't need any immunoglobulins or the no vaccines. If the child or the patient gets re-exposure after the 100 days, we have to give only 2 doses. I told 2 doses on the first day and the third day. Remember, don't no confusion here. Post re-exposure 0 and 3 days, pre-exposure 0 and 7 days, and post-exposure in 4 days, 4 doses, 0 3 days, 1 week, 1 month.
Yes, sir. Sir, now we understood that what are the dosage of pre-exposure, post-exposure, and re-exposure also. So, I just want to ask that how pre-exposure prophylaxis works.
Any vaccination, it produces the humoral and cellular immunity. Rabies also produces cellular immunity, very robust immunity, and it is almost 100%, 99%, I can tell almost 100%. And memory B cells will be there for years together inside the bone marrow. And even immunoglobulin levels are not detectable, but still there are memory cells in the body. And when there is even after few years of re-exposure, if you give 1 dose of vaccination, because it boosts, already memory B cells are there, the body recognizes very fast, and there is a threat, and already antibodies are there inside. The multifold, more than 100 times, few hundred times, there the antibody production will be there. That is why the time gap for production of highly efficacious immunoglobulin will be there immediately. For you remember, if there is a first time there is a bite, if you want to give a post exposure prophylaxis, according to the grades of the bite, we have to give a immunoglobulin, because the vaccine doesn't produce any antibodies immediately. There is a lag period of 1 week. And 1 week, if you don't give a immunoglobulin, child is going to develop a rabies. That is why this immunoglobulin, giving immunoglobulin is a must in a post-exposure prophylaxis. But if you are given a already pre-exposure prophylaxis, antibodies are already there in the body. That is why there is no gap of 1 week here. The antibody production starts immediately the moment you give a vaccination. That is why there is no role of immunoglobulin. That is the biggest advantage of giving a pre-exposure prophylaxis for anybody. And the
Yes.
cost also. You can remember, instead of giving 4 doses, you are giving a 2 dose, and there is no infiltration needed for immunoglobulin. There is very painful. The child or the patient will cry so much because I have to infiltrate the rabies immunoglobulin in and around the wound. It is a painful procedure. We'll give a painkiller, but it is still painful procedure. This all can be avoided by giving a just a 2 dose of pre-exposure prophylaxis. One is big price advantage, one is less painful, need not to take a immunoglobulin, need not to take a 4 doses of vaccines.
Yes, sir, absolutely true. So, coming up with the next question, what is the schedule of pre exposure vaccination?
I think we already discussed this is the 2 doses. You remember another point in all the vaccination, all the type pre-exposure, post-exposure, and re-exposure. The day patient comes to the doctor has to be taken as a 0 day, not the day of bite. The child might have bitten for 1 week back, child has come now. Don't take is that day as a 0 day. The moment it comes to you for the doctor for the vaccination, that day has to be taken as a 0 day. For pre-exposure, 0 day you have to take when the child comes to you, and on the third day you have to give the other third day. These are the pre-exposure prophylaxis: 0 days and third days, 3 days afterwards.
Yes, sir. Could there be any undesirable side effects due to pre-exposure vaccination?
As I told, for vaccine is same for whether it is pre or exposure or post exposure, re-exposure. It is very safe. One of the safe vaccine we have seen, and very rarely it causes anaphylaxis and all thing. I told, if at all you want to any vaccination for any vaccination, like, you have to tell them to wait for half an hour. Otherwise, very less side effects in the form of local pain, maybe mild fever. Otherwise, there is no much problem with either any types of pre-exposure, post-exposure, or re-exposure vaccination.
Yes, sir. So, this will be our last question. The question is, how can a child or man avoid being bitten by an animal?
This is more of social questions. We have to see, you have to take care of afterwards when the accident happens. These are the ways. But is it possible to prevent the bite at all? Yes, if you take some precautions, you can avoid. Especially in the, you have to remember, out of 25,000 deaths which happens in India, just 100% preventable disease. Among them, 40% happens in the children. It is 40%, so high. I mean, because there are a few reasons. Children will get frequent bite comparatively more than the person adult, because they are very inquisitive, very fond of dogs, especially if they are puppy. They will take on the hand, they will put on the lap, they will put on the shoulder. They do all sort of things, and it's very low. Anybody, it's very resistant for adult only. Especially puppies, especially kittens or puppies are very lovable. The childrens are very fond of this. That is why they will play with the dogs and kittens. They will pull their tails. They will put their hands. I have seen few patients, they kiss the dog and the dog is bitten directly on the mouth, because they'll do all sort of things. And that is why you should, if at all you want to take a dog, you have to vaccinate the dog. Vaccinate the dog immediately when you bring, or after the 3 months, and then every yearly. And you remember, very rare we people, even educated, highly educated dog lovers or the domestic pet owners, will do regular vaccination. Even if that, but remember, only about 90% have protection. 8 to 10% there is no zero confirmation in the dog, even after regular vaccination. That is why don't believe on the vaccinated dog, that which dog is vaccinated. That is why you won't give a vaccination. You have to give one thing. You have to avoid child pulling like this, playing with the dogs, especially in the domestic dogs. Tell them not to go near to the, especially if the child dog is giving a milk to their own babies, they are very furious. Don't go near when the child dog is feeding their babies, or when it is eating, or and we don't go when it is sleeping near to the. That is why it's all that can cause sudden bite, because they will try to bite because you may harm, but in accidentally you can get bite. That is why try to avoid the area which are very rich in dogs, a rich area, and don't try to move. Especially your kids are there, tell them not to go to that area. Especially if the going for open domestic, what is called defecation, please accompany by one of the adult. I have seen many bites of pigs, and especially pigs and dogs, when they go for open defecation. And these are the way you can prevent a child or the patient getting the rabid dog bite or any animal bite.
Yes, sir. Thank you for this information. I hope this information is very helpful for the audience who are listening to our live talk. So, while concluding the program, thank you for being
There are
part of the
questions,
live.
madam. I think if you can take, is it visible?
Sorry, sir.
There are questions on the side.
Uh, yeah, sir. There are a few questions I can see here.
Yes, madam.
There's one question. Sir, I take the vaccine now. How long I am protected by rabies?
I told you, sir. This is question is re-exposure whatever antibodies are there in the level, and the plasma B cells are there in the your blood for about more than 25 years. That now they're telling it is almost lifelong. Before you used to remember, after 5 years you have to revaccinate fully, or 3 years. Sometimes it's 3 years, sometimes 5 years. Now they are telling that plasma B cells are there in the your blood, and it is almost lifelong protection. Only thing, the amount won't be sufficient if you re-expose after the 100 days. That is why if you re-expose after 3 months or 100 days, you have to take a two dose, and it will almost abound. The antibodies are there up to lifelong. Only thing, re-exposure, every re-exposure after 100 days or the 3 months, you have to take two doses. And it means almost antibodies are there about more than 25 years. Protective antibodies may not be there after 100 days. That is why to take a two antibodies, two doses after 3 months. Yes, madam.
Yes, sir.
And the
So
only thing,
I
to summarize, I think we have to give a local care 100% for all. 15 minutes, 50% protection is there. Give a immunoglobulin. Many times I don't told it is not available, or patient doctors are afraid of giving immunoglobulin because there is anaphylaxis deaths are very, very, very rare. When you ask immunoglobulin, all immunoglobulins, all vaccines, all types of vaccine, all type immunoglobulins are equally effective. Give whatever available. Anaphylaxis reactions are very rare even with ours immunoglobulin. Only thing, make them available, sit them till evening, or if extensive bite, you admit for one day, discharge the next day. Immunoglobulin has to be given per kg. There is a per kg dose. You have to remember, don't give a more than required, because if you give more than required, it can interfere with the vaccine immunoglobulins. And you should give immunoglobulins within 7 days of your vaccine bite. It's for vaccine given date. If you give one vaccine today, if you give a 1 week afterwards, it is available now, it is going to interfere with the active immunization. That is why, if at all you want to give it immediately, you have to give both together, or maybe maximum 1 week. Don't give beyond 1 week, even if the vaccine immunoglobulins are available, but it is going to cause more harm than the less harm, because it is going to interfere with the active immunoglobulin production by the vaccine, which is much more higher level and long lasting. And then you give a antibiotics, and then give a TT vaccination. And remember what I told, the four types. And remember, even the lick can cause be harmful. Remember, only the two are not reported: rabbit and rat, or rat and rabbits are not reported. All others can cause. And you have to give vaccine for all the types. I have seen puppies not given, and all things can happen. All because doctors are the one whose patients are going to come. If you are misinformed yourself, very difficult to save a life. If you remember, 25,000 lives of Indians are at the stake, on dependent on your knowledge on rabies. Please try to update your knowledge. Try to protect all who comes as a animal bite or rabbit bite. Thank you for patience listening.
thank you, doctor. Thank you, doctor, for joining this live talk and giving your valuable time and valuable knowledge to us. So, while concluding this program, thank you for being the part of the live talk of Fearless Against Rabies. We hope today's session was informative and valuable in spreading awareness on rabies, 100% fatal, but timely vaccination saves life. Our special thanks to Dr. Mallesh Gowda GS for sharing his expertise and insights with us today. For those who would like to revisit the program, the video will be available on our official social media platforms. Please follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Do like, share, and spread the word to as many, including your friends, family, and relatives. Until we meet in our next live talk, stay healthy, stay aware, and please take good care of yourself. Thank you.